the opera director here at Portland State University, but I'm also an alumni, and I knew David very well, and I have a lot of friends that I haven't seen in probably about 30 years. No, sorry guys. And so I'm really excited for everybody to be here and to share in David's life. I know that he touched so many lives here at Portland State, career-wise, personally, and he made such an impact here. He lived his life in this building. He went to college here when it was Portland College something. And then I started as an adjunct faculty member, and then came back and then became a full professor. We have a PowerPoint. This is what we were waiting for, so sorry. The PowerPoint are pictures that were given to us from family members, and we've got quotes from the Vanguard that from when he retired. So all of these quotes are from that article. And in the very, very end, I wanted David to have the last word. It was really important to me for him to have the last word, and so we'll be playing a recording from his CD that he made with Richard Faith. And those CDs are being given out for free out in the lobby. So please take as many as you'd like. If you know some people who couldn't be here, please share those. But so anyway, thanks for your patience on the PowerPoint, because I really wanted him to be able to have the last word at his concert. We are so indebted to David, not just for the teaching that he did for the education department, which he was very involved in, his church, and also the fact that he set up this endowment that is helping students in perpetuity. It's an endowment that is given as an award from the Portland Opera, or the PSU Opera Scholarship Award that we do every year, and it's his living legacy to all these students. And we have 3 students here today that were the past 3 winners that will be performing for you. And we have some alumni, and we'll say some words, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks. years ago, David sang at my wedding, my first wedding, and my ex-husband, David, was his voice teacher. And so he sang the Lord's Prayer, and so I'm going to give it back.
Follow those 30 years ago and even more so now. Really wonderful. Thank you. My name is Peter Marsh. I'm a former student of David's, and he is, oh boy, here we go. Basically my father. And this is a piece that I sang on my senior recital here, some years ago, and I would like to try to attempt right now, as I'm noticing it's even more emotional than last time, to get through it also. Please be patient with me.
All David touched both of our lives throughout our careers. As allergy season is upon us, Vanessa asked me to bring her words to the stage first. Kelly asked us to say a couple of things about how David touched us through our lives. Vanessa studied with David all through her undergrad program at PSU. Vanessa and I met at PSU in choir with a few other people who we see here, under the direction of Bruce Brown. I knew David originally from singing in choir at First Presbyterian Church. I had the privilege of sitting next to him. A little scary. I knew his reputation and shyly said to him, "Please, if you hear anything that I should change, let me know." He looked at me, and you know that look, said, "So, you want my services for free?" I remember he would cover choir rehearsal when Jim Welty was gone, and he would start warm-ups, a very large grin on his face, and say, "Now, we'll do it my way." Vanessa already had a few years of study at Mount Hood Community College before arriving at PSU, and was frequently performing jazz, but was intimidated by the high standards of the classical program at PSU. She recalls fondly that David opted to play piano for her at her first few area recitals. Afterward, when she wanted to know how she felt, or how she did, he would say, "I don't know. I was so busy worrying about my playing, I wasn't listening to you sing." She adopted that practice in her own voice studio and had almost always played piano for her students the first time or two they were performing. He created a welcoming, synergistic studio environment with lessons slightly overlapping, so students were often listening and encouraging each other, something which she has tried to incorporate into her studio as well. Her time in David's studio included vocal duets with David McDade, and studying and socializing with John Short, Ralph Wells, and Larry Fee. He was the teacher that taught when you had not practiced, that was not the time to cancel, but the time that you really needed to follow through with your lesson and get help starting back where you were. When it came time for her senior recital, she was reluctant to use Lincoln 75. She wanted to do it off campus, away from the academic pressures, and enjoy the recital performance for its own sake. David was running the choral program at Valley Presbyterian by that time, and kindly offered it as a venue. She was hired straight out of PSU to David's former choir director position at Scappoose High School. David was helpful as a mentor that year, and often reminded that he had designed the choir and band room when it was built. His mark was everywhere, especially in the massive choral library that he had accumulated at that school, and his library system that he had set up and maintained. In particular, there was an extensive men's choir collection. He had taught band as well as choir, and she recalls him sharing that he had occasionally been fifth trumpet in Oregon Symphony. He often said there were voices that were beautiful but boring, and those that were ugly but interesting. He often made jokes about his own voice being among the latter category, but we all know his booming baritone was as beautiful as it was interesting. We also asked him to sing at our wedding. And as we heard in the studio coaching one of his students, the beautiful Eugene Butler prayer room, that was what we requested of him. He complained in good nature about us trying to make him over into a tenor. He refused payment for singing, but gave us a beautiful glass vase of flowers, which we still have. He and Brian Foster were our first guests for breakfast on the maiden voyage of our Belgian waffler received as a wedding gift. We did not realize for a bit why it was taking so long to cook the waffles. Turned out that the entire side, one entire side of the heating elements was defective. A very hungry David took it in stride, very patiently, good-natured, but of course teased us about it afterwards. Throughout that first year for teaching at Scappoose, I was finishing my computer science degree at Portland State. We both attended Valley and sang in the church choir under his direction. By spring, I had been hired into my high-tech job, and our family was beginning. Vanessa ended up leaving school and teaching privately while we raised our children. Our firstborn, Brandon, also a musician, studied voice with David in high school and during summers home from his undergrad program at UNT. He remembers picking up repertoire he first heard in music theory and history and working with David. Brandon then came back to Portland State and got his master's in percussion and his teaching degree here at PSU, where he met his wife, also a vocalist and in Portland State Choir. They met at Ethan Sperry's house at a party. Brandon has been teaching high school and middle school band over 10 years now, and feels like it's come full circle with him returning to institutional teaching that Vanessa left, and all of us being influenced by David. David was also an informal advisor when Vanessa started teaching church choir at St. Gabriel's Episcopal in Southwest Portland. A building of gorgeous acoustics, but only a borrowed spinet, which would regularly drop a leg while playing. David had worked a program and encouraged Vanessa to work a similar program to get a piano and encourage donations to buy the piano and pay it off. We were able to raise $20,000 and buy a beautiful Boston Grand for that church, which is still there after 24 years, drawing many voice teachers and piano teachers to hold recitals there. Vanessa had been thinking about whether or not to sing a solo here, and nothing obviously had come to mind. But she had recently traveled to hear our daughter-in-law sing in the Saratoga Orchestra, for which Brandon is a percussionist up on Whidbey Island. A few hours before the concert, she realized, Eva, our daughter-in-law, had realized she was too sick to sing. Brandon ended up singing one of her solos, and Vanessa did the other, which was Barber's Sure on the Shining Night. Brandon had adopted it for 8 French horns and soprano. She hadn't sung it in about 40 years, but as rehearsing it, she realized it was David who introduced her to that song. It seemed obvious this was the song to sing this morning. And as David would say to all of us, "You're going to be wonderful."
Sure. And I was the winner of the 2023 Opera Scholarship Competition at PSU, meaning that I was awarded the $5,000 scholarship from David Jimerson's endowment. All of this came from a man that I never even met, though I did send him a letter, obviously, thanking him. Like many students before me, this scholarship was truly instrumental in paying for my tuition and helped take a substantial burden off of my shoulders. Thanks in no small part to David's generosity, I've been able to continue on my path towards a professional career in opera. I will be enrolling in the Masters of Music program at the Jacobs School of Music at Indiana University, Bloomington this fall to study voice and opera. David helped me get there. Once again, all this from a man that I never even met. Thank you, everyone, and a special thank you to David's family for being here. Have a good rest of the show.
Receiving the David Jimerson Opera Scholarship was transformative for me. It really allowed me to have my basic needs met, and while pursuing my passion for music, with the financial support, I was able to afford the essentials like food and housing, and that really relieved a tremendous amount of stress for me. It helped me focus fully on my studies and vocal training, and without the scholarship, balancing work and school would have just been so overwhelming. So the stability and the confidence to grow both personally and as an artist.
I'm the recipient of this year's David Jimerson Award, which will give me the kindness of being able to pursue my degree next year, continuing this this journey. The kindness that David Jimerson exhumed is something that I didn't ever get to experience myself, but I did hear about his kindness at all times. Whenever people talked about him, they only had good things to say. And so I hope to today with my two pieces, one is an aria and one is a art song, to maybe give you a taste of love, but also loss. The aria I chose is Questo Amor, which is just an aria. It's a baritone love aria, which means I'm saying how much I love her and that she doesn't love me back. And the art song I'll be doing is a piece by Mussorgsky. He wrote it when he was 18 years old. And this is about, the first verse is about this star, the star in the sky. And it is covered by a cloud. And the second verse, then, is about this maiden. And I'm asking, why have you left me? And the third verse is about this star is covered by this black cloud, and my maiden is covered by the cold soil.
Scorda fuori For those that don't know me, my name's David McDade. I was a student here. I was a voice student of David Jimerson. And yeah, of course now it hits, right? Yeah, you get up in front of people and have to speak from the heart, and it's tough. It's tough. He meant so much to me that it's difficult to put it into words. But back when I had heard that he had passed, I did a Google search to see if there was an obituary and for information about just such a gathering. And instead what I found was a post from 2012 on WordPress by my good friend and colleague John Short. John and I met here and quite possibly would not have become fast friends for life were it not for that we both studied with David Jimerson. We had back-to-back lessons every Saturday, and then we'd go out to Sam's Hofbrau for dinner with him, although he usually did not join us for the multiple pitchers of beer that John and I inevitably drank. I called John and asked him if he was going to come to this, because I thought it would be great if I could play for him and have him sing. He was unable to come. However, I told him about this tribute that was posted online. I said, would you mind if I read at least excerpts from it? And he was first of all blown away that I'd found it and that I was so moved by it. But it really puts into words so much of what I feel as well. And so I just want to share that with you. If you want to read the whole thing, it is on WordPress, and it's called A Tribute, Music Forward, The Journey Beyond Lincoln Hall. To this very date, no teacher I've ever had or known has had a more profound impact on my life as a singing actor or as a human being than PSU's priceless treasure, Professor Emeritus David Jimerson. David's remarkably knowledgeable and talented guiding hand, generosity, and sheer humanity has not only touched my own life, but that of countless other fortunate singers and musicians who have toured the halls of PSU. His ability as a performing teacher to tap into each individual's gifts, life situation, capacity, potential, and personality cannot be overestimated. He is absolutely unique to the state of Oregon, the greater Portland area, and the Pacific Northwest. As a performer, David was a world-caliber talent who could hold his own on the operatic stage with international artists of the greatest renown, the very highest level. As a singer of oratorio and symphonic works, his reputation and experience speaks for itself. There was nothing beyond his musical, vocal, or technical skill in the standard or the extremely difficult modern orchestral repertory. As a concert recitalist, a singer of art song, digging deeply into the challenging words and music in varied languages and styles, I've never encountered his superior in over 20 plus years of living in New York City, LA, and San Francisco. Still, all of that sincere hero worship aside, it's his service and quality as a voice teacher that means the most to singers. The technical, musical, linguistic, and stylistic instruction, the gift and wisdom to know when to say what and when, as well as yes and no, without pushing or, especially in my case, stifling of any given singer's spirit and desire to grow, test limits, and expand horizons. Singers of profound necessity must go to school, where they can receive the best instruction for their individual talents, no matter the importance or reputation or curriculum of any particular university, so that what most likely will be the real beginning, the foundation of both their musical intellect and their vocal skill, will be built solidly and properly. There is nothing more important for a young singer than that, getting off to a good start, however long it takes them to ultimately realize or accept that fact, its very functional reality and the artistic values that should accompany that journey. I believe that because of David Jimerson's remarkable abilities and my initial studies at PSU, I got that. It's a very rough, often discouraging business being an operatic singer. Fairness seldom figures into the outcomes of people's lives, no matter how hard they work or what they sacrifice along the way. Nothing could ever get David Jimerson to flinch from making that clear from the first day of study, so that each and every individual went forward into the pursuit of a career in singing with no illusions or false expectations, so that service to one's art, the love and respect of music and words, are sought as being its own reward. The incredible pain, yearning, profound foolishness, and wisdom that are in all of these great works of art was honored as the value under his tutelage, no matter an individual's success or accomplishment. I've come to believe that those are very courageous values he instilled in me as a young student, and they served me well to this day. I learned at PSU under Jimerson's stewardship to love and honor art and music first and foremost. I've often thought it was the kindest thing he ever did for me. It's certainly not in and of itself made me happy at all times about my profession or myself, but I think because of his contribution to my life, he has made me an infinitely more thoughtful, searching, and compassionate human being than I might otherwise have been without his extraordinarily honest and positive influence. It's always been the great friendship I've been blessed to share with my mentor, David Jimerson, that got it all started, gave my life direction, and instilled professional values in me that I've never had cause to doubt. After all, he recruited me, so to a large degree, PSU means David Jimerson, and none of the other wonderful things would have ever come to pass without his getting me to audition and accept a scholarship to PSU, and go there to study voice and, as it turned out, a whole lot more about life with him. I shudder to think of how different my life would be if I'd not taken his advice as well as many a well-deserved admonition and scolding directed towards my own best interests from time to time. I had a few other offers and options back then, but I'm reasonably certain now that he guided me right, and I am still at it. All I have to do to know for sure that going to PSU was the right thing for me to have done is to look at the pictures of my beautiful son and daughter, both artists, I'm very proud to say. So what does PSU still mean to me? A great many things indeed, priceless. Most especially, Professor Emeritus, indeed, David Jimerson, my teacher and my dear, dear friend. I asked John if he wanted to update that at all, and to his credit, he said, no, I stand by everything I wrote. But he did say, give me a couple lines to follow that up, postscript, if you will. More than anyone but my dad, Jimerson impacted my entire life, and possibly more than any single friend or life hero or role model. I love, adore, and admire my mentor David Jimerson beyond saying, and I will always miss him and remain loyal to what he's meant to me. Now, of course, I'm here today representing both John Short and myself. No pressure at all, but I wrote a whole bunch of things down, and I look at it now, and I think it just seems very clever. So I'm going to encapsulate, because I don't know that clever is the right thing for a gathering like this. It's fun, but just so you know a little bit more about me, I work as a coach, what the Europeans would call a répétiteur. That was the profession that I kind of came into. When I was here, I studied French horn. I was in all the ensembles. I've performed on the stage as a French horn player, as a vocalist, as a pianist, as an accompanist. I've been in operas here. I've been a lot of things. This hall brings back so many memories for me. I'd totally forgotten about doing those Dvorak duets with Vanessa. Wow, I haven't thought of those in 35, 36 years. They were a lot of fun. So much that's here. And I love what's been done. I mean, it's far fancier than it was when I was going here back in the 80s. I am really blown away by how this hall has been preserved. I heard Jimerson sing so many things in here too, and always movingly, always sincerely. I remember, I'm just going to put this in. I remember a particular recital where he started a song, he got maybe 25 seconds into it, and he stopped. And he said, we're going to start that again. I can do that better. And he did. It was like, and later, John and I were talking to him, and it was like, you did that on purpose. You were just showing off, right? But Jimerson, oh my goodness. I wonder if anyone else ever heard the thing that he told me once in the voice lesson. He could say things that under other circumstances could be brutal, but when he said it, there was always this underlying love and humanity that made it not sting so much. But I still remember the time, and I found this in so many times coaching artists. They begin their phrases well, and they end them poorly or haphazardly. And David had his own way of saying that. He would say, you stopped singing before you stopped making noise. Anyone else heard that one? I'm not the only one, I'm sure. Jimerson was more than a voice teacher. He was a mentor. He taught me, as John said, about so much more. When I think of pieces of music he introduced me to that I'd never heard before, amazing works of art, just and modeling his Christian faith in a way that I had never seen before. Very honest, very open. To have a voice teacher who will open a lesson and close a lesson praying with you, that's unusual. That's truly unusual. And it was a wonderful thing to get to know him. And he will always remain in my heart. He loved music, he loved art. There were very few things he did not like. I remember, oh my goodness, I can tell the story now, they're both gone. My friend Ralph Wells, who died a number of years ago, had written a show that was a salute to one of his heroes, Erich Wolfgang Korngold, the composer. And there was an actor that portrayed Korngold, there were singers, and they played stuff from his film music and all this stuff. And there was a number of pieces from operettas that Korngold had arranged. There was one intermission, and I forget where the performance was, but I was going down to find the restroom, and I found David Jimerson sneaking out of the performance. And I was a little bit taken aback. I said, "Are you leaving?" And he said, "Oh, don't tell Ralph, don't tell Ralph. But I can't stand operetta." I stayed to the end. He did not. I did not let him forget that. So I thought about what to do. Kelly said, "What would you like to do?" And I thought, well, God, I'm not going to sing. You know, I've been studying voice in 30 plus years, and I have more of that, what they call voce di coach nowadays. So that's not a good thing. But a few years ago, during the pandemic, my position with Seattle Opera was jeopardized by the good old COVID. And for a while, they were trying to figure out how to keep me on a full-time salary when I wasn't there and we weren't producing opera. What do you do when you don't need a pianist and coach? And so they had me playing little piano pieces, 3-4 minute pieces. And I made a whole bunch of videos that are all on YouTube if you really are interested. One stars my cat Abby. I recommend that one. I was looking for piano pieces by opera composers that I didn't know. And Francesco Cilea, whose most famed opera is Adriano Lecouvreur, a severely underperformed opera that I think is wonderful, 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 and evidently not everyone does, or we'd be doing it. He wrote this little piano piece, and it's just called Romanza, a romance. I think that he definitely wrote it after listening to some Borodin, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And I thought, you know, maybe that's a good thing to offer up. Just kind of encapsulating my memories of David Jimerson, because I'm sad he's gone, but also there was so much wonderful stuff, and his sense of humor, his humanity, that's what I choose to remember on this day. And so, yeah, Cilea, Romanza. Get the right glasses.
important to the celebration of life, and I'd like to thank you. We want to thank you for coming to celebrate David's life with us. He was such an important person here, and it's so nice to see so many wonderful faces, old and new. And we're going to leave this performance with David having the last word. So please enjoy Remember Me.